And so a lot of these dudes don't know how to be vulnerable, how to talk about their emotions, how to prioritize genuine connection outside of sex. And so a lot of people are saying, you know what, that's fine. I could do without. I got a rose toy and a USB plug, and I am good to
She
go. The basement is flooded.
Ooh, wait. No.
Listen. Listen. Wait.
I hate you for that.
Let me fix it. Well, wait, is it? Is it okay if we just start?
Sorry, I didn't know that you could just jump in like that. I mean, can you put some music on it first? God damn.
No, I was gonna start, and then I was gonna pivot to ask you how you're doing. But do you want to talk about your feelings now? You want to share? You know what? Let me get the talking stick. Let me get it for you.
Shut up and start this damn podcast.
Welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says, Delon is fine. Delon is fine. I'm Francesca Ramsey. I'm an actress, I'm a producer, a writer, and graphic designer.
And I'm Delon Grant. I'm a anxiety fool and an actor, a singer, photographer, and a writer. I am fine.
Yeah? You okay? You sure?
Yeah, no. Oh, you know what I said? I said, I always come on the pod, I always come on mic, and I'm always like, Fran. And I was like, you know what? I've had a day, but I'm going to come on and I'm trying to, and I couldn't even do it. And you were like, you all right? And I was like, yeah.
We hadn't even hit record and Dawn was like, there's like all these sounds coming out.
How are you
You're
doing?
Okay.
Oh, it's fine.
I'm okay. I almost did the exact same noise I did last week. I'm fine, all things considered. I'm just, I'm a little tired. I'm a little disillusioned about the world. But I mean, what else is new? I feel like I could say that every single week.
In the 21st century that we're living in, yeah. It's they're really beating us down over here.
They really are.
That rapture better come.
All right, well, we will get into that because there's so much to cover this week. Let's dive in. This is Let Me Fix It. So, Delon, I don't know if you've heard about this, but it has been lighting up my TikTok feed. There is an AI artist by the name of Xania Monet, and she is climbing the charts, and she has now signed a multi-million-dollar record deal. All right, so surprisingly, there is a Black person behind this because I thought this feels like a white. This feels like something
I'll
y'all
talk
would
about blackface, okay?
Right, okay, but there is a Black woman behind this. Her name is Talisha Jones, and she created this AI creation that has reportedly signed a major record deal using an AI music tool called Suno, which is backed by Timbaland. Timbaland, I'm giving you the side eye for fucking promoting this shit. So according to Xania's manager, goddamn, the AI has a manager.
It's crazy.
The manager says that even though the image and songs were not generated in the traditional way, aka using your dome, he insists that her words are written by Talisha based on her own stories and inspired by a, quote, small factor of others. Plagiarism. Plagiarism. So according to Billboard, she's been signed to Hollywood Media for a reported $3 million deal. She got multiple offers. I'm mad that we're calling her she. The AI was given multiple offers. Yeah, it's not a real person. But the songs have debuted at number 25 on the emerging talents list. And one of the songs is number 21 on the hot gospel charts. Delon.
Let Go, Let God.
Did you listen to any of these
songs?
songs?
I listened to maybe 10 seconds of Let Go, Let God. And I was like, I'll let him go. I'll let him go.
It sounds It sounds so like, first of all, I could tell Miss Mama does not have a background as a writer because the lyrics are so on the nose. There's
Mm-hmm.
one song that's like, if you've ever lost your parent, and the song is just like, I miss my mama. She used to be here and now she's not. Like, it's just so and
It's
not to make fun of, listen, if you've lost a parent, I can't imagine how hard it is.
no, right.
But the lyrics were just not creative at all. And a number of musicians have spoken out against this, including Kehlani and SZA. And they have every right to be angry. It's already hard enough to be a recording artist. Now you don't even need a singer or a writer or a producer. You can just click some buttons and make money.
Well, listen, we are artists. You and I are artists, so
Yeah.
we are extremely biased because we do feel everyone feels their livelihood being eroded. Artists in particular, writers, obviously, right?
Yeah.
With what's happening with people just writing stuff from AI. Universities feel it with students just plagiarizing things. That's not a hard and fast rule. I exaggerate. But we should all be upset by this. We should all be bothered by this. Why? This is my politics speaking. But when you have somebody like Timbaland, love your music, but you are a multi-millionaire, when you have a company like Spotify that is $1 billion company saying, you know what we're going to do? We're not going to continue to foster and feed young artists and reach down and give more to those people. We have to sit up in our tower on our castle and make more. And this is what
by
gets
stealing.
to this thing.
By stealing,
yes,
because that's what they. Sorry to cut you off, Delon, but like I think that's the thing that a lot of people forget or don't recognize when they use AI. It combs the internet and steals other people's intellectual property. Delon, when you listened to the voice of this girl, did you hear any of the musical influences? Because she sounds like a number of musicians when I listened to it.
Let go, let God. That was like, it was kind of anthemic, and it gave me like, I can't think of another. Your brain is very musical, so you'll be able to.
I was gonna say she kind of sounds a little bit like Leona Lewis, a little bit to me.
Wait, who's that other? Andra Day is the one who I thought. Andra Day has a big anthemic song. I forget what the name of it is, but that came into my mind.
Yeah, but like her vocals, and oddly enough, because this person's vocals are questionable, but she had a little Keisha Cole to me. That like, those.
Listen, don't talk to my mother. My mother in a minute, my mom be like, Delon, have you heard the Xania Monet?
People, I mean, somebody's listening to it. Class, we will put a link in the chat because we're not about to get a copyright strike from stealing an AI's music, but the music is just not good. What about the visuals, Delon? Does she look like anybody to you?
You know, I mean, gosh, Sweetie, baby,
a dark skinned
sweetie. I could, if I glanced at her twice and she had a lighter color wig on, I would say it may be Victoria Monet. This may be her sister.
Oh, she does have a little Victoria Monet. I was going to say she looks like she could be like Ashanti's cousin. Like she just looks, but again, the AI of it all is so weird because it's very clear that the prompt included some R&B divas because she looks like she could be a knockoff of a number of different people.
Well,
and
you know what's scary about this is that like it is we know that this is AI because you can tell, like you and I can tell. I've been tricked a few times. I'm not gonna lie to you, but you can tell this is AI because of like the perfection, the shading. It's a little too glossy. It's a little too. The highlights and the lowlights are really.
The mouth doesn't match up when she's singing either. She's like,
oh really?
I haven't seen
the video of it, but
the singing clips are terrible.
The other thing I'll say is like this just also bothers me because I think. Talk about theft, right? There's been a big conversation. I'll bring the Kardashians into this. A big conversation about all of the parts of Black bodies that have been appropriated, right? Like and I'm not saying anything. Wigs have been around for a long time, and all women have worn wigs. But Black women in particular.
We were called ratchet and ghetto for wearing them.
Beefed up the wig game. Now everybody needs a lace front, right? Now everybody's hair is laid, box braids. Everybody wants that. So this is just like, it's taking our features, Black women's features, let's say this specifically, Black women's features, and aggregating them to create a perfect version that really doesn't exist. And it kind of propagates that, like, oh, you're Black, but you don't look like that, or you are you know what I mean, the
featureism
lookism, whatever that is.
That's a really good point. I think that, combined with the stealing from other musicians, I would also add, it's really worrisome to me that we are pushing this idea that you can push a few buttons and come out with a song, versus like prioritizing music education. Like learning an instrument, learning how to read music, learning how to use your vocal instrument. Delon! Well, at class, if you don't know, Delon is an educator. He does have a master's. He does work
a deer, a female deer.
Come on, Ray. Yeah, I mean, all of that stuff is so crucial, and there are countless studies that say that music education helps kids with math and with reading comprehension, and we know a lot of y'all can't read. So
well, and I'll also add that art is creative, right?
Yeah.
Like, Fran, you talk about this all the time. You journal. You don't only journal in terms of text, but you journal artistically. You make right? Like, that is an extension of like decompressing, of therapy, right? People who do journal, people who someone was actually just telling me, a student of mine, I was like, she's in this songwriting course this semester, and she said, oh, being in your class, I had one of their final project was, you have to write a song. And she was like, Delon, if I didn't do the final project in your class, I wouldn't have been brave enough to now bring my guitar to this other class. And she's like, it's just for me. I just usually sit in my room, and now I'm like writing songs. And I was just like, it's just therapy. And I was like, that therapy can be therapy for somebody else once you put it in public, right? So it's a lot of things. And to your point, like that's what we should be focusing on. How, again, to my earlier point, how do you reach down Spotify and Timbaland? Not for something that's not real, but like to a younger, and I guess someone might argue, well, Talisha's behind this now.
Yeah, but yes,
right now.
Yes, she's behind it, but the software she's using is stealing from other people. If you listen to the songs, they sound like knockoffs of a bunch of different other songs. That's how the AI learns, is it steals from people. And, you know, you mentioned Spotify. Timbaland, again, he was rightfully getting eaten up because he was hosting these music sessions on TikTok where he was asking up and coming musicians to share their music, and he would highlight them on TikTok. And then all of a sudden he comes out with this app that he is promoting. That's an AI app. And it's like, you were using TikTok as a way to be like, oh, I'm highlighting new artists. Sir, you were propagating theft.
You were doing recon.
You were doing research before you then launch this app that people spend money on. And I think that also the thing that frustrates me about the AI of it all, and that's not to say all AI is bad, but I think a lot of people want to skip the work of being a creative. They're like, well, what if I can't play an instrument? Well, you know what you do? You pick up a fucking instrument and every day you practice. There are so many free resources on YouTube and on TikTok. Go to the library. When I started playing guitar, I went to the library and picked up a fucking book to learn how to play guitar.
Listen, as somebody who has a piano and owns 4 guitars and doesn't play any
One of them I gave to you.
Yes, you did. That's sitting right over there staring at me. That doesn't play any of them well. What I will say is what's fruitful about this conversation about AI is that AI, I think, should be an assistant. And as somebody who is a musician and is musical and has written a myriad of songs, I've written songs by playing chords or by using my DAW, which is a digital audio workspace. And my DAW, Logic, which I use, which is an Apple product, now has a chord generator. So I've gone, hey, give me a chord progression in this key, because I don't have the skill or musicianship, but I'm still building music around that.
Yeah.
I use something called Splice, which is what do you call that? A sample library. So I subscribe to this thing annually, and I can use 300 credits to download any sample that you as a creator might have put on there. But it's an exchange. You're being paid for the samples that you put on there that I'm now using. I heard one of my samples on a commercial that I've used in a song, and I was like, I know that's that fucking sample. They went to Splice and used that. Right? Yeah. So I'm only saying that because I also, without the skill, I'm aggregating things.
But you're making sure you're paid. You're spending your money for it, and you're making sure creators are getting paid. But again, you're also using the knowledge that you've spent years and hundreds of thousands of dollars getting a master's, taking classes. Y'all know he loves a class, in order to have a foundation. So like you said, you're using a tool. And I think that's very different. And ultimately, I don't want to rain on Homegirl's parade, but I believe that the musicians whose voices are inspired in order to create this artist should be compensated, because again, it's already hard enough. There are so many musicians we've heard from, whether it be the TLCs of the world, that get in these terrible deals, and then we never hear from them again. They lose all their money. They're, bagging groceries because the music industry is very predatory. And this is just going to make it worse and harder for artists to be compensated fairly and create lives for themselves off of their art.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Talisha, like you, because this is a really fraught conversation at the moment, she is going to be fodder, as is Timbaland, for this conversation. And because we are currently in a political war where things are war, it's not a hot war, it's a cold war where we have conservatives and Republicans. Everybody's in the hot water. And currently, some of our favorite stars in the community are in hot water. To pivot, JayZ and Beyonce are facing backlash after having dinner at this fundraiser with Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. So JayZ and Beyonce are receiving a lot of scrutiny. You better get out of there, Flex.
Now you locked in there, sir. Sorry.
I know, it's okay. So the Carters are receiving all of this heightened scrutiny for a photo showing them seated with Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. So last week, JayZ was joined by Michael Rubin and Meek Mill to host the second annual Casino Night Gala at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City, raising more than $20 million for criminal justice reform. Like, yo, go. Good cause, right?
I didn't know about that. So that was very cool.
Yeah. So JayZ's Reform Alliance is a bipartisan organization that has worked with both Democrats and Republicans at the state and federal level to advance criminal justice reform, with a primary focus on transforming probation and parole laws nationwide. There were tons of celebs in attendance, but the ones that raised eyebrows were Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, as they were seated at the same table with Jay and B. The photo quickly sparked backlash, with some even speculating that Beyonce's Cowboy Carter era was a nod at her embracing conservative American values.
You didn't hear, Delon, TikTok was on fire when Cowboy Carter dropped over the American flag. There were a lot of people that were like, I don't feel comfortable with this. A lot of people. And now it's kind of full circle moment where people were like, exactly. That's why she was giving us Americana.
Listen, the American flag and the people who wave the American flag like they do in this country, they make me uncomfortable. I think it's the people. Yes. It's not the flag itself. And I think one of the things that I appreciated about Beyonce, what Beyonce did with Cowboy Carter, was a reappropriation of the flag.
Yes.
It was like, oh no, this is everybody's flag. So we're not just, and I appreciated that. Now I was on Cape Cod working this summer, and there were flags everywhere. And I was like, this is uncomfortable. And my friend from New England was like, no. This is just a tradition on Cape Cod that these houses have hydrangeas, have American flags that they put up and bring down at night. And I was like, America, right?
Well, and to your same point, that was also the conversation when Cowboy Carter first dropped, that there are, like Black cowboys and like Texan pride. Like there is a history of Black people embracing the American flag as a, the same way that people reclaim slurs, being like, this flag has never been about us, but now it's about me, bitch, So I could see both sides.
It's about me, nigga.
But this one, I have so many mixed feelings here. I think people have every right to express their discomfort. I think the thing that is surprising to me is like these celebrities are not our friends,
Talk about it.
and like, and to on the one hand, it's like JayZ is doing something positive with this foundation that I didn't even know about. And it's a bipartisan effort. And Ivanka is kind of like the liberal Trump of her family. Again, she's not liberal at all, but like
the bar is in hell.
In hell. But in their side, you know what I mean? She's sitting at a table with some Black people. Like,
listen, because they were also like, what are you doing with Beyonce?
1000%. I'm sure that her crew were like, really?
Right.
You're sitting next to Beyonce. So I don't necessarily think, on the one hand, I saw a number of Beyonce fans being like, well, maybe they didn't know they were going to sit there.
This is a planned, catered event, right?
You're telling me
there is security at this building.
Also, Beyonce is like the queen of optics. You know what I mean?
Okay.
She's like, the hat matches the sock, matches the pinky ring, matches the lip gloss. You can't tell me she was like, oh, we're sitting here. No, she knew where she was going to sit.
Right.
But also at the same token, I don't think sitting at a table with somebody means that you're friends. You know what I mean? Like, you're like,
yes,
we're sitting at a table together. We're playing nice. I'm smiling, whatever. But like, I'm going to go home and probably talk shit. It's for
a cause that's bigger than me. Sitting here, I consider I don't have to talk to you, right? We consider the table, have pleasantries, and eat dinner. They weren't actually seated next to each other. They were just at the same table. This is one of the things that I heard that I completely agree with. These people are billionaires.
Yes.
These people are billionaires. They live in a different tax bracket but world than we all do. So the idea that billionaires were sitting next to billionaires, we got to get used to this.
They're in a group chat.
I was like, bitch, it is us against them. They are even thinking. We supply them with money for their services. They aren't thinking about us. So yeah, there are circles that they roll in that we have nothing to do with. And I'm not saying that you can have any opinion you want to have. We are sitting here having plenty of them on mic.
Yeah.
But I'm not looking at them and be like, how dare you? I'm going like, oh yeah, that tracks because y'all need things and want things that I can't even fathom. So
yeah, and I think to add on to that, I think this is a great time for folks to remember that celebrities are not your friend and that everybody has to create their own personal line. You know what I mean? For me, sitting at a table with them, while I'm not happy about the optics, and I really wish that both of them had said, you know what, they're allowed to be at the event. I don't want to sit near them with everything that's happening in the world.
Right,
these are not people I want to be photographed near. But ultimately, I'm like you're saying, I'm not that surprised. Like, I've seen photos with Beyonce and the Kardashians. Like, she is friendly with people that, like, I don't really see it for.
They live in a different world. She's in a different world. Yes.
Yes. And I think to the point about the line, I think there is a difference between, I saw a lot of y'all at the Chris Brown concert shucking and driving.
I saw you, Winnie Harlow.
So I seen a lot of people, they don't seem to have a line when it comes to abusing women. Now, I'm not saying that if you have, if you saw this Beyonce and JayZ photo and you said, I'm done, I'm ripping up my Renaissance album, I won't be going to Act 3. Fine, I will take your spot. But I think everybody has to make that choice for themselves. And what I don't love is people using this measure of being like, now you have to throw away all. It's like, feel however you want. Again, I know people that went to the Chris Brown concert, and I did have a little, but you're an adult. You're an adult. Do what you want to do.
Mind your business. Wait, on the Chris Brown concert of it all. The ex that I dated earlier this year, he is a Chris Brown fan. And he said to me, we were trying to plan all these trips and whatever. And he was like, oh, well, I'm going to the Chris Brown concert, like somewhere in the Carolinas. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And he was like, why? And I shared a couple of things with him, and he was like, oh my God, I didn't know any of this. And I was like, yeah, like that's
How old was he? Is he a tadpole? Oh my God.
He's German. I give him a little bit of leeway, whatever.
Okay.
Right. And so, but anyway, I was like, he was really lobbying me, and he was like, well, like you can go and not tell Francesca. And I was like, no, I can't. No, I can't.
Wait a second.
Yes.
This man doesn't even know me. And he said, what I do know is Francesca would not.
Well, to his credit, I said, Francesca would murder me. And
I would.
And he was like, you don't have to tell her. I was like, no, I can't do that. I'm not doing it.
I'm like, yo, not my second divorce. Are you kidding me?
not my second one in the 21st century. Or my first one in the 21st century. Anyway.
Oh my God. Well, this is a good segue, I think, to a topic that everybody is going to be talking about. Ooh. Because there's a new development. Jimmy Kimmel's show is officially returning to ABC this week after being abruptly pulled last week after his comments on Charlie Kirk. So ABC said in a statement, last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. It was a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday. Now, Delon, do you think they came to an agreement, or they saw how many people were canceling their Disney Plus and Hulu, and they said, you know what? We take it back.
Class. Listen, you know I love a word. We were just talking about Germans. Let me tell you about a German word called Schadenfreude.
You love that one.
Schadenfreude is, yes, I do. It's taking pleasure in someone else's pain. The Germans really got that down. This is a business decision. They saw all those cancellations. They saw what social media was done. And you know what else they saw? They looked back in history in the timeline at that Target boycott. Because you know what was successful?
The writing was on the wall because and you know what? Shout out to Black folks because we are standing on motherfucking business. Because
I see you with a Target bag and I give you the third eye.
Oh, if somebody mentions, I'm like, what were you doing at Target? What were you doing there? Not you at Target.
We don't do that. We don't do that.
Oh, you know what? When the Target boycott started, I had some picture frames that I had bought from Target. I said, let me take these right back.
She said, I'm going to spend the gas.
I said, nope, they have been taken out of the box. I'm going to return these and get my money right back.
I heard that.
Yeah, you're totally right. The Target boycott of it all, I definitely think frightened them. I will also say, after seeing the comments from Jimmy Kimmel, I feel like he had a real good lawsuit on his hands.
Oh, and no, he was in the midst of it. He was beginning that lawsuit.
I saw a photo of him getting out of his car with a big smile on his face at his lawyer's office. So I'm sure that those talks with Jimmy included, because he did it. Here's the thing. I saw a lot of people talking about this, and one of the things that always frustrates me about social media is when folks start weighing in on the ins and outs of TV and they don't work at TV. People say, oh, well, you're not allowed to say negative things about the president. That's not true. There is a standard. There is a whole department. As someone who worked in television and worked in late night, there's an entire department of standards and practices that reviews the script for the show before you tape, and they record the tape before it goes to air to make sure that there's nothing in there that could get them into legal trouble. He did not disparage Charlie Kirk.
And Fran, sorry to interrupt you, but aren't there are only 7 words that somebody like Jimmy Kimmel can't say, right? Or something like that? It's like a list of words that are cuss words or something like that he can't say.
There's a list of cuss words that you're not supposed to say. And if you say them, like, you have to bleep them out.
Yes.
Or you cut them completely, or you risk paying a fine. But when it comes to, misinformation or legalities, you can't like defame people, right? Like, so if you're saying something that is intentionally that you know to not be true, even if it's in service of a joke, you can open yourself up to legal repercussions. And there's a whole department that makes sure of that. Again, I worked in late night. There were times that we had to cut entire segments because it was like, actually, the foundation of the story is something totally different and it like negates the whole segment, you got to cut it. So I saw lots of people saying, oh, why doesn't Quinta pull Abbott Elementary? She can't do that because she doesn't own the show.
Right.
She sold the show to ABC. Well, all the actors and writers should walk out. They can't. They are under contract. Our contracts say you can't boycott. So I saw a lot of those conversations happening. What I think is very interesting now that we know that Jimmy is returning is that Sinclair Broadcasting, which was the broadcaster that was really up in arms about Jimmy Kimmel's comments, which again were not nasty towards Charlie Kirk. They were really a joke at Trump's expense.
Right.
They were about Trump's failure to actually, grieve in a discernible way. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm really sad. Also, I'm building this ballroom." It was
the point he was making was about hypocrisy.
Yes, that was the joke that was being made. But Sinclair Broadcasting was very upset. They own and operate and provide services to 178 different television stations in 81 markets, including 30 ABC affiliate stations. And despite ABC and Kimmel reaching this agreement, Sinclair said, we're going to run local news. We will not be bringing Jimmy Kimmel back. They pulled Jimmy Kimmel Live off of the airwaves on Wednesday, and it was following a warning from the FCC, Chairman Brendan Carr, who has given a lot of money to Turning Point's Memo, which was Charlie Kirk's nonprofit organization. And they said the only way they were going to put Kimmel back on the air was to have an apology to the Kirk family and a donation to Turning Point's Memo. Now, that's extortion. That's extortion.
Well, not only is that extortion, but Brendan Carr's comments, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, direct quote, right, on a podcast. So, not only is that extortion in terms of like what he has to do, but also it's government interference. Like the government cannot do that when it comes to the First Amendment. They cannot infringe on anything, especially when it comes to like a TV show or a comedian, right? Comedians are our First Amendment, I think, heroes, for better or for worse. Insert the comedian and we can talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Depending on who it is. But like the government can't do that. The FCC chairman can't say we're either you take them off or else,
Yeah. And I see, and thank you for making that distinction, because I saw a lot of conservatives going, well, you guys canceled Roseanne. No, the network said Roseanne said something racist, so we don't want her on. The president did not step in. Mind you, Donald Trump was the president when that shit happened. Okay. So a lot of people have been saying that, Colbert and Kimmel are like the canaries in the coal mine. But might I remind you, a number of Black women have been fired as warning shots for being critical of Donald Trump and the administration. Now, we can't say directly that the president asked for them to be fired.
Right.
But again, when we say a canary in the coal mine, it is a warning sign. So we're talking about Melissa Harris Perry, Joy Reid, Jamel Hill, Amber Ruffin, Tiffany Cross,
Angela Rye.
And there were so many people. And again, I feel two ways about it, in that it was really powerful to see how many people stood up and said, like, this is wrong. We got to do something. But it also was a little frustrating because it's like Jimmy Kimmel was the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of y'all.
The unsurprising part of it is like, well, listen, when it happens to a white man, that's when people, and you know what? I'm in the interest of like Black people going like post November 2024. I've backed up. I'm taking care of me. I'm glad somebody rose the alarm. I'm glad you're stepping up, because we are doing quiet quitting. That is still a thing for us, right?
But here's my question to you, DeLong, because I put a post in here from Threads. There are a number of people that said, well, we unsubscribed for freedom of speech, but now that Jimmy Kimmel's back, I'm going to resubscribe. They said, you know what? I gave up my Disney Plus for 3 days. That's enough activism for me.
Listen, you know what? I'm glad you stepped up to the plate, but also while I have you, while we're here, I would have you know that, to use your phrase, the canary in the coal mine, this is one of the first steps. Colbert happened. To your point, we list all those. Joy Reid was a shock to me. I was like, y'all are taking the only Black woman on this. Well, there's another woman on there, but
Abby Phillips, is that her name?
No, that's CNN. What is she used to be one of the press people for Kamala Harris. I forget her name.
Oh, I don't remember her. You know, I'm terrible with names. But Donald Trump, when Joy lost her job, Donald Trump was flapping his gums about how much he hated her and she was terrible and this and that. The real test is going to be if Jimmy apologizes. Because he's going to come back on the air.
That can't be crazy. That would be crazy. I mean, if he does apologize,
I don't know.
It has to be facetious. It cannot be in earnest.
I hope he, well, not apologizes like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But like, it will be interesting to see how he handles this, because the unintended consequence here is a lot of people are going to be tuning in that probably never watched his show.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, so it had the inverse effect. There's going to be a lot of stations that aren't carrying it, but you can watch it online. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on social media. I'm curious to see, the episode will be out by the time we put this up. But I jumped in, Delon. I'm sure you were about to say something else.
Yeah. No, I mean, just on that, like, I think his contract is supposed to be up in 2026, in May of 2026. So they might, versus like doing the headache of paying him out of the contract and him suing them for, whatever reason that he and his lawyers would come up with. They're probably just like, well, let's just ride this shit out and then cancel it.
Yeah.
If that's the case, if there is no renewal of the contract, I hope he pulls a Colbert and rides it out and really kind of holds truth to fire, right? Hold feet to the fire, because you have, he does this so well. I think I don't watch his show regularly, but when I do see clips of his show, he is on mic speaking truth to power.
Oh, he's been on Trump's ass for years.
Yeah. So I hope he does. But like, one of the things I just want us all to, this was like a really, heavy, got a lot of press, was a lot of spotlight. But again, this is my politics speaking through. Class, everyone who we have here on the show, listen. It is happening. Authoritarianism is happening.
It's here.
It's here. We are going the way of Russia if we all don't continue to do the same shit. And there's stuff that we aren't aware that's happening, right? I'm going to talk about one in the news section coming up. There's stuff that we aren't aware that's happening that we have to be paying attention to, because if not, it's a slow erosion, right? They are slowly beating us down with this trickle of water on our face that we're not aware of, until before you know it, before you know it, we have military in our streets. Oh, wait, we already do.
Oh, we already do.
Guys,
I mean,
right?
I've seen this quote, and I forgive me because I don't know who it's attributed to, but it says, "Don't comply in advance." So meaning
that is the guy who wrote On Tyranny, who talks about authoritarianism. There's a book called On Tyranny that's brilliant. I forget his name.
Okay, well, I have not read the book, but class, tell us in the comments if you have, because I have heard a lot of people talking about it. Okay. I really like this quote because, to piggyback off what you're saying, Delon, we need to keep speaking up. We need to keep saying something. I got a number of DMs from people I went to high school with, because I'm from South Florida, who said, I would love to share your post, but my job said that I'll get fired if I share anything that you post, but thank you. And it was a sobering moment of like, oh, damn, like the shit is real, and do what you got to do to protect yourself, but conversations can still happen around the dinner table. Crazy. You can pick up books about certain things. Yeah, I know. Last week,
it's crazy. Have we not seen things like, I don't know.
Did we not see what happened in Germany?
I was just gonna say, like, Anne Frank. Like, what is that? What is that? That play on Diary of Anne Frank?
Yeah, Diary of Anne Frank,
where they're literally being hidden in and Schindler's List, where he's hiding all of those people in that factory. Like, that's not far away from. We can't say anything in public.
It's happening right now with the ICE raids. There are people, they are scooping children up as they, are getting dropped off at school. They're separating parents and kids. It is really dire. And the thing that we talked about a number of times on the pod is the attacks against trans people. It's all connected, right?
Yeah.
Like, they are pushing us towards a place where they are going to criminalize being queer. being trans. They're coming for our birth control. They're now trying to say that Tylenol causes autism. All of this is connected to try and say, oh, women, now you're not going to be able to have an epidural. Oh, we're going to take away birth control. Like, all of this is a concerted effort
under his eye. Okay. Under his eye. If you know the reference,
let me just say, I read The Handmaid's Tale for the first time because I only watched like 2 or 3 seasons of the show. It's a hard read, class, but like, when I tell you this is a masterpiece, and it is truly the way that she crafted this book and the research that was done in order to essentially lay out things that we've seen throughout history. Another book that we've talked about is Parable of the Sower. Margaret Atwood, correct. And her book predates Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents, but I suggest reading those as well. And just continuing to have these conversations. And again, we've said this a bajillion times, but midterms, because guess who is getting ready for the midterms? They are getting ready. They are getting ready.
Right. We got to do it. We need leaders. Help me. Random. Evidently, Hakeem Jeffries finally endorsed Zoran Mamdani. 17 years later, because he had no choice. Chuck
it's
Schumer.
Just a little too late, and I can't win.
We see you, and you're done to us.
APAC Shakur, get out of here.
APAC Shakur, that's the funniest thing you ever said. Charlemagne the God, this is the funniest thing. Okay, hard pivot. This is something I added because I thought it was like an interesting thing in our news corner here. So divorce rates dropped 25% in Kentucky. Isn't that crazy? Why? So Kentucky became the first state to make 50-50 shared custody the default for separating or divorced couples, meaning that when they split between parents, they get equal time with their father and their mother, and the fathers end up paying less in child support. Now, it's being lauded as a win for dads' rights, and I didn't know this phrase, but the end of like the Disneyland dad effect, meaning like you only see the kid every other weekend or on special days when you're taking them out. But it's being speculated that the reason for this drop in divorce rates is because women are fearful of leaving abusive relationships because they don't want their kids to be abused.
Yes.
Which I thought was like, I started listening to this and I was like, oh, this is really kind of cool. And then I was like, oh yeah,
this is the reason. This is also the reason that Republicans are pushing to end no-fault divorce, which, class, if you're not familiar, no-fault divorce means if you want a divorce, you can get one. You don't need to have some extenuating circumstance of, he cheated on me, he abused me, she abused me. Let's be real, because abuse, it is not confined to one gender. But historically speaking, no-fault divorce has benefited women who need to get out of, challenging circumstances. And the end to no-fault divorce would essentially say, you can't get a divorce, unless both parties say you can get one, which is wild because abusers are always going to say no. And just the dynamic of like, if I want a divorce and you don't, why would you want to stay in a marriage with somebody that doesn't want to be in the marriage? It only benefits abusers. It only benefits abusers. So you're right. On the one hand, at face value, this does sound positive, a 50-50 shared custody, but there are a lot of people who should not be given custody of their kids. And a lot of people are getting a divorce in order to escape abusive situations for themselves, their children, or their future children.
Right.
That's another one.
The no-fault divorce of it all, try it. And you know what's going to happen? Women are going to stop getting married. Women are going to start getting married to their friends, right?
And a lot of people are going to start shooting motherfuckers because that's what we have before divorce. Before divorce, people were getting poisoned. You know what I mean? You would say,
getting that glue in your soup.
You know what? My mom is going to come over. She's going to fix you a big ass plate, and then we'll see. We'll see what happens then.
That arsenic.
Yeah, I mean, we're already seeing more women are not getting divorced or not getting married, because, it's slim pickings out here. But also a lot of people, this is one thing I think has pushed the TikTok ban of it all, is a lot more women are being honest about the realities of marriage and domestic partnership and motherhood. And, you know, as someone that is a divorcee, I have gotten so many messages from people that have said, you talking about your divorce, you showing a happy and fulfilled life post-divorce has given me hope. It's given me the strength to walk away. You know, when I talked to my mom about getting divorced, my mom said she was so thankful that I had such supportive friends, because when she got a divorce, that was not the environment. Oh, people were like, well, you can't do that. Well, what do you do? Just the thought of being single was worse than being in an unhappy or unhealthy relationship. And now a lot more women are educated, have their own money, have their own careers. It's easier to start over than ever before.
Right.
So a lot of women are able to say, you know what,
man.
I'm out. I got my own bank account.
there's also a little bit of a study that said the reason that a lot of us are still single, meaning millennials and our elder millennials like you and I are single, is because we actually have really fulfilling friendships. And because I lean into my friendships and they fill that up, like it's not that I don't need, come on, bring them.
The
Jesus,
standards are hot. The standards are higher for a partner.
Well, and also if I can't get that from you, I get it elsewhere. And I'm speaking from the eye, I can see a man about a dog. I can order in, you know what I mean? I want
it's
that.
So true.
I want that, but like, if you can't have it, like there's ways to fulfill those parts of your companionship and all of that. And we're doing it. So
1000%. I mean, there's all of this talk about the male loneliness epidemic. And it's like, because if you are a gay man or a straight woman or a bisexual woman, and you have the misfortune of trying to date a straight man, that this is hard. It's like talking to a wall sometimes. And like, hey, can I get some emotions? Can you tell me how you're feeling? And so a lot of these dudes don't know how to be vulnerable, how to talk about their emotions, how to prioritize genuine connection outside of sex. And so a lot of people are saying, you know what? That's fine. I can do without. I can still have a very fulfilling life. I got a rose toy and a USB plug. And I have good to go. The basement is flooded.
She said, pull it out the trunk. You better get your friend. I ain't mad at you.
Okay, listen. Clearly we are heathens. And if you are watching this, it's because you are a heathen too, and you got left behind with the Rapture, or the Rapture was not real, okay? There is a rumor that the Rapture is supposed to be happening on September 23rd. That's the alleged Rapture date that is going viral all over social media. There are Christians recording goodbye videos and even selling their things and quitting their jobs in anticipation. I'm curious, why are they selling their stuff? You're not going to get the money. If the Rapture is happening, you can't take the money with you. Just donate it.
I don't even listen. You know
Delon,
what?
did you watch any of these Rapture videos that I linked?
You know what? I've always said. I don't believe I am very agnostic. I do not believe. I believe there's energy and some kind of power. I just don't know that we can define what it is. That's my belief. But I will fight for you to believe whatever the fuck you want to believe.
Just leave us out of it.
I am so glad watching these videos that y'all are smiling from ear to ear. That y'all are as joyful as can be. I'm glad that this brings you that much joy. And you know what? For your sake, I hope it happens tomorrow on the 23rd or whenever this. I really, really do. I don't think it's going to happen. But I love that for you. I love that.
Yeah. For you. So apparently, I didn't know this, Delon, but there have been many Rapture dates. There was one in 2012 that everybody was talking about. And I saw a number of videos where people were talking about how they were a kid when that most recent Rapture was supposed to happen, and feeling a lot of anxiety, and their parents talking to them about this. And one person I saw a video saying that their parents sold their house and they moved to another city to be closer to some family because they wanted to be raptured together. And then, of course, it didn't fucking happen, and then they were stuck in bumfuck nowhere.
Wow.
I hate to laugh, but like ultimately, like this feels like a severe like psychosis. Like
I think all of it is that, but I also think I don't mean to belittle anybody's religion or anybody's belief. If you believe in Jesus, if you believe in God, like I support that. Like I believe it. It's community, whatever. You believe it. I believe in you believing it. But because I don't believe it, and I'm also critical of it, and I think everything is up for critique. And I think the idea that you would do something as drastic, I love that you have that faith in it, that you would sell your house and move to some random place. I love that.
This is what I do. But this doesn't make sense. If you think that tomorrow you are about to be snatched up, you don't need to sell anything. Why do you need to sell it? Just give it away.
Right, and isn't that what Jesus taught anyway?
Hello. Well, here's what's really interesting, Delon, is that this idea of the rapture is not really in the Bible. Like the Bible says that God will come back at some point, but this was all like marketing. Like in the 1800s, the church was like, y'all are throwing ass out here. Y'all are doing so. Y'all are painting pictures of naked bodies. We gotta do something.
We got women's fucking women. We gotta do fucking dudes.
We got all sorts of weird stuff happening out here. We need to whip y'all into shape. So what we're gonna do is we're going to say that God is going to snatch up y'all's souls and leave a little pile of clothes on the floor, and the rest of y'all that are left here are going to be living in hell. And so they used it as like a recruitment tool to get people to come back to the church. And now we've had so many raptures. This reminds me of Y2K. Remember when we were all worried about Y2K?
Well, Y2K was, we thought, because like it was going to go to 00 or 000 or something.
The clocks were going to be so confused.
The electronics were going to be like, the ones and the zeros don't work anymore, right?
And they were all just going to go, everything was just going to explode.
It's crazy. And to your point about the propaganda of it all, like again, I'm gonna get myself in trouble here a little bit, but I honestly have always thought that the idea that Peter, Paul, Mark, and John, or whomever, had some revelation and God came down to them and interpreted this thing that supposedly happened beyond their time or before their time or whatever, is just kind of crazy to me.
It's a chain letter.
Yeah,
you just get chain letters.
Well, listen, again, if you believe it, you believe it. But also, let me say this: the idea, what really drives the point home for me, is that if you are in the pulpit and you can take a Bible verse and just interpret that how you want, you can interpret Leviticus, and this is my own bullshit, right? Of being gay, you can interpret Leviticus how you want, but then say, yeah, but football is fine.
Shellfish. But we can eat shellfish. Yeah, like there's a bunch of stuff in there.
Pigskin, but like let football have it, right?
Right. Well, and again, to circle back to what you said, ultimately what you believe is what you believe. And I think that there can be something really positive about people having faith in a higher power. And you know, there's so much out of our control. Like there are positive things. The thing that is frustrating to me, and we are seeing with this current administration, is people feeling like their religious beliefs mean that we all have to ascribe to them and using them.
Yes.
And weaponizing them, because ultimately there are a lot of gods out here. And at the end of the day, you're saying my God is better than your God. And that's just your opinion.
Right.
You're allowed to have that opinion.
Right.
But like, I'm of the mind that you don't have the right to tell anybody what they are allowed to believe in. And when suddenly it turns into, you can't get married, you can't own property, you can't have birth control. Like, I mean, where's the line? Where is the line?
You know where I want the line to be? I want churches to not be tax exempt. I want them to pay property tax. That's what
y'all are doing. Fucking Cirque du Soleil style,
with Rolls Royces and mansions. Joel Osteen. Don't get me started. Don't get me started on this mega churches.
We're not gonna talk about that Klan rally that y'all had that had fucking pyrotechnics and shit that we the taxpayers paid for.
Talk about
but that's just not religious. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like, I don't think that there is anything godly about fireworks, and like just floor to ceiling iconography, and it's
fireworks were invented by a gay man.
Yeah, I bet they were. They seem gay.
But wouldn't that be right? Wouldn't that make sense?
I mean, listen, Delon, they're flaming. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. They're big, they're sparkling, they're on fire. Come on.
That's gay.
Gay. So this other thing that I wanted to bring up was this is a Rachel Maddow phrase: watch what they do, not what they say. Watch what they're doing. So the Trump administration is currently dismantling our country's cancer research system. So in 6 months, Trump has dismantled what took 50 years, a 50-year campaign for us to fight cancer. So in the 1970s, the U.S. cancer survival rate was 49%, class. Today, it is 68%. Amazing. Enter the Trump administration. His administration has canceled hundreds of millions of dollars in cancer research contracts since coming into office, which is not only like for the contracts for research
for
or for universities,
medicine too,
but it's also commerce. It's like you're giving companies money to develop these things. Anyway, so also Trump has proposed a budget for 2026 in his big ugly bill that will cut an additional 37% from the budget for the National Cancer Institute. So I'm bringing this up like we just have to spotlight this shit. What is happening?
Didn't
in
Jesus
real time?
talk about helping the sick? This is what I'm fucking talking about. How can you say, and again, we know that the pro-life label is really just pro-birth,
right?
But how can you call yourself pro-life and then slash cancer funding? Like, and do you also think that like nobody that's Republican's gonna get cancer? Like, I mean, we know the richest of the rich will be fine. They'll have something, but like cancer can hit anybody, and it's devastating.
Well, it just goes to show you that they don't care about you. They don't care about you. They don't care about this country. There's an FDR quote that I put in here a little bit earlier that I'll read because it feels apropos now. FDR was problematic. FDR was a racist.
Of course.
So let's keep it real. Let's keep it 100. But he did say we must especially be aware of those who would clip the wings of the American eagle to feather their own nest. The poetry in there. Like be aware of this stuff, friends.
Oh my goodness. Well, now that we have touched on a little bit of music, a little pop culture, a little bit of news, it's time to turn it over to you, the class. So we've got a listener letter this week from Rebecca A. She says, "Hi, Delon and Francesca. Love the podcast so much. We've been stuck in traffic today and listening to episode after episode has made it bearable. So thank you. I was slightly disappointed that your casting suggestions for Tania Head didn't include any Spanish actresses. Class, if you don't remember, we did an episode about Tania Head, the woman who lied and said that she was in a tower during 9/11.
The woman who wasn't there.
She was not there. Okay, so Rebecca says, with that in mind, my husband suggested Hilaria Baldwin. Your husband is shady as fuck, and I like him. Would love to know your thoughts. Hilaria Baldwin.
Come on. That is brilliant. Brilliant.
So if you're not familiar, Alec Baldwin's wife, Hillary Baldwin, has been calling herself Hilaria because her parents have a house in Spain and she like did a semester in college over there or something.
There's a clip of her on some show when she's trying to like be a cook or something, and she goes, she's like, and then you put in, how do you say
¿Cómo se dice cucumber?
Cucumber, girl?
Cucumber.
And the accent isn't even great. It's hilarious.
The accent is terrible. There's also a clip, Delon, during 2020. This was another mass psychosis. We're talking about, everybody thinking the Rapture is happening. In 2020, white people tripping over themselves to prove how not racist they were. She posted a clip of her talking to her kids about race. And she said, "I'm brown." "No, you're not. You're not. No,
she did not.
She said, "See, mama is brown. You are white."
Just so we're clear, Spaniards are white. Even Spaniards in Europe are white. People.
Are white. Y'all are the original colonizers.
Okay. Yeah, they colonized brown people. Right?
You are a vintage white.
Just so we're clear.
Oh yeah, no, she is.
I love a Spaniard. Don't get me wrong, but
she is a weirdo. Okay, so we should think about some Latina. Well, so Tania Head was Spanish. She was from Spain.
She was from Spain. Yes.
to be clear, there is a difference between Latina and Hispanic, like Latin American countries versus Spanish speaking countries. I'm trying to think, who is a Spanish actress? I mean, again, I think I don't know if Hilaria can act, but I do think it's a very funny casting choice.
That's because a very, very punny one. That's beautiful.
It's very, very clever.
You know what's sad is I think people would automatically like default to like America Ferrero, would never take the part.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, we pitched like Melissa McCarthy, which is a very like kind of on the nose one. But class, if you listen to the episode or watch the episode here on YouTube, please let us know in the comments if you have casting suggestions. I really think Rebecca knocked it out of the park. The only reason that I wouldn't want to do Eladia is because that woman's head is already so fucking big. They have a reality show now. Like, she is obsessed with being famous. She doesn't need any more attention, but it is a very funny, maybe when the movie happens, we leak to the press that Hilaria did a screen test. Just to get a little press for the movie.
This is the Christopher Guest mockumentary version,
right?
Of this casting, because you know what? And in that version, I'm casting Catherine O'Hara as Tania Head. Hands down. I don't care what you say, because she would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and you know what? That Catherine O'Hara, I think, is really funny because then she could do like the meta Hilaria Baldwin style. You know, like, she's in super deep character. Like, is she really Spanish? Was she really at 9/11? Like, it's kind of like a Tropic Thunder type thing. Like, she gets a really dark spray tan, and you're like, what the fuck is this lady doing?
She's orange. She's Trump orange. Hilarious. Yeah, so we'll continue to think about this. But listen, Rebecca, this was funny. We had to put this on the podcast because we read this and we're like, hell yes.
So funny.
All right, now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Glow Up, where we give props to those who've turned themselves around with our help. Fran, do you want to go first, or do you mind?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, please.
I will go first. So my Glow Up goes to Delete Me. This is not sponsored, but I do have a little plug for this app. So with everything that was happening with people getting fired over Charlie Kirk, you know, Delon, they were on Twitter putting screenshots of my post and tagging the FBI. They said, come get Francesca.
No, they were not.
They were trying to come for me, and I said, joke's on you. I ain't got a fucking job. But I said, can't fire me if I'm not been hired. But I have a group chat with some other content creators, and they said, you know, you should do a search to make sure that your personal information is not online. And I said, let me do a search. And sure enough, if you Google your own phone number, there are tons of websites that you can just get access to people's phone numbers and addresses.
Wow.
And so Delete Me is a company that you pay for one person. It's $10 a month or $129 a year. They will scrub your phone number and address from the internet. The other thing that they do is they can, using your phone number, they can make sure that all the spam callers don't have your number. Delon, my spam text and phone calls have disappeared. Like, my phone was blowing up every fucking day. I got this shit. No more. You know, you get the the texts that are like, hey, I'm at the restaurant. What are you doing? Oh, we have a job listing, blah, 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 blah.
I keep getting ticket. This is like the Minnesota State something.
You have a ticket. We're going to impound your car.
Girl, I don't have a car. So
I have used this, again, class. This is not sponsored, but if you want to try it out, I'll put a link in the description box.
Doing this.
You can get 20% off if you use the link in the description box.
Oh.
I'm telling you, it has stopped the spam calls for me. And it gives you a report. So it gives you a report and says, here are all the sites that your phone number is listed on. And like I said, I did a Google for my phone number and I found my full fucking name and like my address and like a whole bunch of stuff. So thank goodness this site was able to pull it all down. There are a lot of these sites out there, and it's such a pain in the ass to try and get your information removed. If you've ever, they have like a form where you can say, here's my info, please take this down. But it takes time, and there's so many out there. But Delete Me will do it for you. And honestly, at $10 a month, I really think it's worth it. It's like insurance. So
also, take that Disney Plus money and put that on Delete Me. Hey.
Yes. And again, again,
that's what we call a callback, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, he's a writer. He's a writer. And look, you might not be a public person who, you know, is worried about your personal information being out there. But again, we do live in an era where you say something online people don't like, or you get into it with somebody at work and they decide that they're going to go look up your information and blast it out there, or sign you up for a bunch of, you know, bullshit email things.
Yes.
Or again, these spam things. I woke up the other day and I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. I haven't been getting any spam calls. And I remembered that it was because I think it's like $7 extra for phone protection. And again, totally worth it.
You better keep us on, friend. You steady be helping. Help.
I try.
Help. I love
What's
it.
your glow up?
Mine goes to, we're talking about cancer research earlier. Mine goes to science, because I saw this thing. I forget where this happened, but it's gay science. Evidently, they've been trying to figure out how two people of the same gender could actually have a baby. And it's possible
I've
because
heard
of
about
two
this.
eggs or two sperm. But what they did was they took same gendered mice, and they got down to the nucleus of like a sperm cell. Let's say they got down to the very nucleus of a sperm cell, and they realized, they took two sperm cells and they took out the nucleus of one, and then they put in some kind of like genetically modified not a scientist, cell thingy. And then they figured out how to merge the cells, and they've now have a full-grown viable baby from two male like DNA samples, right? I didn't know this, but I guess in the double helix of the DNA, there are certain indicators that tell us that there are DNA parts that are like, this is male and this is a female, right? And then if you try to put a male and a male together, they go, the double helix doesn't match up for some reason. So they took out of that DNA, they took all of the like, this indicates it's a male, this indicates it's a female, so it's easier to merge with the other female part and start multiplying, or male part and start multiplying. So it turns out, I don't know who's carrying the babies, but turns out, ladies, the gays and the lesbians, we might not need the other gender at some point. You know what?
I love this, especially because when it comes to lesbians, it's really hard to get sperm. The sperm banks are filled with just the lowest of the low. If you need $10 to jizz into a cup, you're not doing great. You're not doing great. And so the ladies are like, I don't want, you know what I mean? I want a PhD person. I want, I want a doctor. I want a lawyer. I want a blah, blah, blah. And they can't find those at the sperm banks. Did you see that documentary about the guy who had like 1,000 kids?
Oh my God, yes.
Because he was out here like swindling people.
Every country, you know what? Part of that documentary is there are a bunch of dudes that do this. Right.
Well,
he has
I was going to say,
cohort of them.
He was taking advantage of the dire situation at these sperm banks, and he had on paper a great resume. And so it was lesbian couples, it was couples that were infertile, whatever. And so all of that to say that this science is going to potentially help a lot of people who want to have kids. Again, to do a callback to all of our, conversation about the authoritarianism, for all the pro-life of it all, they do not want folks to have access to IVF and all of this advanced treatment, because they use all of these special, if they believe that life begins at conception, then if you freeze an egg, they say, oh, well, then if you don't use it, that's an abortion. So they don't actually really care about people who want to have kids being able to have kids. And when we talk about freaking, reproductive justice and reproductive care, if you want to have a kid, you should be able to have one.
Well, and the
science is going to give us the ability to do it.
It already has, right? Talk about in vitro IVF, but like, just to boil it down, brass tacks, it's never about, it's not about the babies. It's about control. It's all about control.
Because they don't give a fuck when the baby's here. They're like, no free lunch, baby. Get a job, baby.
It's telling you what to do with your body. that gives them
I don't care
power.
that you're 2 years old. Get in the fucking coal mine and start shoveling coal.
They want to bring back child labor. They want to get rid of child labor laws. So
yes,
and they want to bring the marriage age down.
My home state of Florida is getting rid of the measles vaccine. You can go to school and not have your measles vaccine.
Crazy.
My God, they really don't care.
What a world.
Well, look, I will not be using the science because there's no room in the inn. Seats taken.
Those ovaries have little violins slowly dying.
Oh my gosh. Well, class, that's going to wrap up this episode, but now we want to hear from you. What would you do if you found yourself seated at a table with Ivanka Trump? Would you slap that bitch? Would you throw a drink in her face? Real Housewives style? Would you get up and storm out? Or tell us, what would be your final meal before the rapture? Delon, what are you eating before the rapture?
French toast.
Oh. I do love French toast.
Baby. I want French toast and I want a candied apple bacon. Fuck yes. Fuck yes.
Wow. Okay, I want sushi and I want
I bet you do.
And I want a fried ice cream, a tempura ice cream.
I don't understand a fried ice cream. I don't understand a fried ice cream.
You know what?
Is it even fried?
Yes, Delon, they freeze the ice cream. It's so cold that when they drop it in the tempura, it doesn't melt and it's got a little cake on top of it. Listen, the fact that you don't understand tempura ice cream tells me that you've never eaten pussy before. And I'm not going to say any more. I'm not even going to explain it.
I've definitely eaten bussy before.
So you don't understand. It's wet, it's gushy.
No, and that's that's a balloon knot. You know what I mean?
All right,
Too
class,
much.
or maybe you would like to suggest a television show, a celeb or a brand or a story that we should talk about in a future episode. Tell us in the comments or hit us up on Instagram at FixItPod or email us lemmefixitpod@gmail.com.
You can also send us a voice note for the tagline for the show. Remember that? And we might use it in an upcoming episode. And you also know where to get us, right? But be sure to hit that little bell as a notification. And remember to subscribe because we are here. If you're new, we're here every Wednesday, nonstop, every day. I'm Delon.
I'm Francesca, and this was
Lemme
Fix It. We got raptured.